Alright, peace and greetings, YouTubers. So, welcome to another edition of Flashback. And in this specific series, I basically just tell a throwback story about something that happened in the past, usually something funny or something that just makes you say, what the hell? This specific story, I want to talk about the time I attempted to run away. In the last one, I did a story talking about when I got banned from IHOP, which is just a few videos back if you want to check it out. Side note, I feel like I look real East African today, and I will gladly take that, okay? I'm going to change my name to something else for the rest of the week, alright? I would say Wassam, but I think that's more of an Arab name. But anyway, moving on. So in this specific story, going back, it's a time period, I'm in like 4th grade, I'm like 9 or 10 years old, and I'm living in Italy because my parents are in the military and we stay on like the military base, so I still go to school and everything with American kids, but it's just on a military base in a foreign country. And the way that things are set up, it's like you have your military base and you have the American house in there, and both are like extra protected and stuff, so it's kind of like just being in America until you step outside of the neighborhood. Anyway, I'm at home, it's dinner time. We are all eating dinner. It's me, my little brother, who at the time was like 2 or 3, and then my mother and my father. We're eating. I don't know where the phone rings. And this is back in the day where caller ID was still around, but, you know, being in a European country and things like that, caller ID, we ain't really using it, really. So the phone rings, and I go to get it. And I answer the phone, and it's a voice that I don't want to hear. So they ask for my father, and I'm like, I give the phone to my dad. I go back and eat, and I'm trying to just eat, and I'm waiting for it, and all of a sudden I hear her, he did what? Did he? Oh, oh. And then like my dad used to do this thing where when he was real pissed, he played off real cool. Oh, okay, all right, yeah, okay, all right, well thank you, all right, you have a good day. And I was like, shit, I know it's going down, and I know whatever it's about, I know it's based on me, because it can't be anything my brother did, because he's too young to really commit any real offenses. Long story short, it is my Host Nation teacher. Like Host Nation was basically, with a lot of the military schools that are overseas, they have a Host Nation class where you learn the language of whatever country you're in. So I had this teacher named Signora Salviati, this Italian lady. And Lord, Miss Signora Salviati could not stand she couldn't stand me, long story short. I low-key think she was just a little racist. Like, I know people try to talk about Europe doesn't have an issue with racism. Yes, they do. Okay, Signora Salviati could not stand me, my friend Keith, my friend Marcus, or my friend Ricky. We were always in trouble. And it was so funny because I would never really do that much. Because one, I was too scared of everything because I never wanted nothing to come back to my dad. Because my dad had this rule, like if I got to come to school to get you for anything, it's going to be a problem. If you're sick, you better be, if you're sick and they got to pick you up from school, that means you're sick all week. Don't ask to go outside on the weekend. Don't ask to do nothing. You sick, but you still going to go to church. And when you get home from church, you're going back in there and lay down. Like, I remember we had an earthquake in Seattle, big earthquake in middle school. Everybody's parents came to pick them up. My parents, nope, but you alive, right? You still walking? Okay, I'll see you when you get home. Like, dang. So anyway, that specific day, I had gotten in trouble earlier, and it wasn't even real trouble. I didn't think it was going to be anything that serious, but long story short, there was this girl in the class named like Sarah Pacini. She was half Italian, half American. Like her dad was in the army. He married this Italian lady, he had her, and she used to get on my nerves because she always thought she was better than everybody in the class, and she used to always try to rub in the fact that she was Italian and we weren't. And she would always try to rubbing, you know, I'm Italian and this is how we do things, and you Americans this, you Americans that. Mind you, we're like 9 years old, so I'm looking at her like, if you don't chill, because this is still the time period when you're 9 and you've been spoon-fed a whole bunch of things, so you already are very America's the best and everything. So I'm looking at her like, chill, okay? All right, y'all don't even got Cartoon Network, be quiet. And so anyway, we were having this argument in class about Christmas, because in Christmas in Italy a lot of times, some of them do Santa Claus, but they also do this thing where they have this witch named Bufana who comes, and Bufana gives candy to the kids, and that's what they do for Christmas. So Sarah Pacini is over here going off on this rant about how Italian Christmas is better than American Christmas. Yeah, it's so funny what kids argue about because we take this stuff so seriously. And so she's arguing about how Italian Christmas is better than American Christmas. And I'm like, Sarah, shut up, first of all. And as a child, one, my parents were religious, so I couldn't celebrate Halloween. So her version of Christmas sounded stupid to me because one, I couldn't celebrate Halloween, so I know on Christmas, Bufana, whatever her name is, ain't bringing me no kind of candy because my mom would say that's the devil. Like back in the day, even when we were in elementary and the kids would have the costume parade, I wasn't allowed to wear a costume. I'd have to go sit in the buddy room and be in my regular clothes, watch all my friends walk around in little Power Ranger outfits and crap, and I'm just like, or whatever. And you better not ask or complain, and then you get a whooping. But so anyway, Sarah's saying all this stuff. Basically, I don't even remember what I said. All I know is I said the word frick or freaking, one or the other. And Signora Salviati thought I said the F word and considered that a cuss word. And I'm like, see, this is that language barrier. Frick and freaking are not cuss words. But she wasn't having it. So she was like, she sent me out into the hall and everything. But I didn't think it was anything worth you calling my house for. So she called my dad and said that I had been using bad words in the class and that I had said something really offensive to one of the other kids and I needed to apologize and stuff. And my dad has no time for nonsense. So, and my dad is also, or he was very, God rest his soul, he was a very stern disciplinarian, but he did not like to whoop us. He didn't like whooping us because, one, he was a big person, heavy-handed, he used to bodybuild, he was in the military, and then he used to work in like a window factory. So all this is just, he didn't play. And he used to have these thick fisherman belts, so those were the worst whippings. So he didn't always like to whoop us because he would feel bad for us. So what he would always do is, when we cut up, we'd have to write a paper. He'd always say, you know what, you're going to write a composite. I want you to go write a composite. I'm like, oh, this shit. And it used to get on my nerves because I had the worst handwriting. Like, as a left-handed person, one, it already sucks because you smudge the paper, but I just already never really was good at handwriting. Even my drawing sucks. And so he's like, you know what, I'm not going to whoop you today because I'm tired. I got to go to sleep in a minute because I got to go to work. So you're going to write a 3-page paper on why you shouldn't cut up in class and blah, 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 and some other stuff like that. And it's due to me by tomorrow. And another rule that my dad had is, if you missed his deadline, he would add more pages onward and then cut the time even shorter for you to get it finished the next time. So I'm like, oh. And back then, 3 pages seemed like so much to write. And, no double space, and he wouldn't let you try to write all big. Nope, you need to write in a normal size, and it better be neat. And if it was sloppy, he'd rip it up and make me start over. So I'm working on this stupid composite. I'm working on this stupid thing, and I can't even think of 3 pages of why I shouldn't cut up in class. Because I'm like, okay, be good and get good grades, blah, blah, blah. I'm only like a page and a half in, and I know that there's no way I'm going to get to these 3 pages. I missed the first deadline. He adds 2 more pages. Now it's 5 pages. I got to get it done by tomorrow. And then I missed that deadline. Long story short, we're at like 10, 11 pages, 2 or 3 days later. And at this point now he's frustrated because he's like, you're not even trying. So you know what? I'm going to work. When I get back, if you don't have this thing, done, I'm going to whoop your butt. I'm like, oh, this is not fair. And it doesn't help that my mom used to egg stuff on because, like, I think I had been getting on her nerves that whole week. So, like, when I initially got in trouble or whatever about the thing with the girl in the class, my mom was like, yeah, because he's just been cutting up. I told him to vacuum. He said, yeah. And he did this and he didn't vacuum. Because moms always make things worse sometimes. They egg it on and they just boost your dad's ego. Now he mad at the world and think everybody in trouble. So, I'm at school and I had this friend James. Now, James was like this white kid. He was British. And but his mom married like this black guy that was in the army, so he had like this black stepdad. But it would be so funny because James treated his mom so bad. Like, he would call her all kind of names. Like, I never knew the word cunt was a word until I met James. He called his mom that to her face one time, and I didn't even know what to make of it because I didn't know it was a bad word. And I remember she went and grabbed that wooden spoon and popped him on the hand one time. And then he hit her back. I was like, oh, like my heart dropped because I was like, oh, they're gonna kill him. But James is a little crazy, so. Like, I feel like James would be the type to go shoot up the school these days. But James was cool. He was my homie back in the day. And so I'm talking to James like, man, I don't know what I'm going to do because I have this paper due. Because we're like in class or something. I'm like, I have to do like this 11-page paper. I only got like 2 pages done. And it has to be done today. I'm going to be in trouble. And James is like, you don't have to take that. Just tell him you're going to call the child protective people or like the CPS or whatever. Whatever the little thing is. And I'm like, and I'm trying to explain to him that's not going to work because I don't want to call CPS because I've already been given the story. Okay, you call CPS if you want to. That means they're going to take you, they're going to put you in an orphanage, you're going to have to share a bed with 30 other kids, and basically Oliver Twist on steroids. That's going to be your experience. You ain't getting no toys. You're going to be stuck living in Italy forever because you're not coming back to America with us. So call CPS if you want to. I'll even help you dial the number. Because I tried that once or twice. So I knew CPS with James, I can't call no CPS, that ain't going to work. And he was like, well, why don't you just run away? I'm like, run away? He's like, yeah, because when you're going long enough, then they're going to miss you and they're going to feel bad and then they're going to apologize. When you come back, you're going to get everything you want. And I'm just think, at the time, it made so much sense. I'm like, you know what, James? I'm going to do that. So I get home from school. My mom's home. And she's like, you need to get that paper done. Your dad ain't playing. He getting real mad because you're not trying or whatever. And in my head, whatever, yeah. So I'm over here plotting like I'm about to get up out of here. So I go and... No, let me do a quick time check. Okay, perfect. I know that annoys y'all, but I just have to, yeah. Anyway, so I go upstairs and I'm like, let me pack my things. What am I taking? And I said, I'm not taking nothing because I'm about that life. I'm just going to walk out of there. So the only thing I took was my coat and my Bible. And my plan was if I took the Bible, if they caught me, basically, even if they were mad, they'd say, oh, he took the Bible he took Jesus with him. We're so proud. Come on, come back home and let's go get you some Legos. That's what I thought was going to happen. So I'm going out the door. My mom's like, where are you going? I'm like, you know what, Mom, I'm just tired of this. I'm not doing this anymore. This isn't fair. I'm running away. Love you. I see you when I see you. And my mom's like, okay, you better be home by dinner. That's what I do know. And so I go out the door, mind you. So it's my coat and my Bible. It was so cold outside. It was like drizzling and wet because I feel like Italy has a very similar climate to like Washington State. Like they have good summers, but the spring, winter, it can be like cold and wet. Man, it was drizzling. It was so cold. And like none of my friends were outside. It's a random weekday. Everybody's in the house. I have nowhere to go. So I go to the park. And there's a bunch of parks in like the neighborhood we live in. There's like a park on every cul-de-sac. So I go to like 2 parks further away from the house so she couldn't see me. And I go and I sit in like the little tube thing, because you know, like you have the tube slides, but you also have the tubes that you can crawl through. So I go and sit in that thing, and I sit there for like 10 minutes, but that 10 minutes felt like an hour or two. I get bored. I get up and walk somewhere else. Our neighborhood had a little shop at or something with little like snacks and stuff. I go to the shop at and buy like some candy or something. I see some friends. Yeah, man, you know, I'm just out here doing my thing. Parents are tripping. I just had to teach them a lesson, so I'm out for a while. You know, and I see like my friend Ricky, the same one I was talking about earlier. And I'm like, you know, I might need a place to stay for a few days, Ricky. And my friend Ricky's like, you didn't come to my house? Hell no, because you know if you go to my house, your mom's gonna call, or my mom's gonna call your mom. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. So I'm wandering the neighborhood. At this point, it's probably been 2 hours. I go to another park and I'm sitting in a tube slide, laying down, or whatever. And I see this other friend, I forgot his name, I can't remember the kid's name, but anyway, I see him, we're walking around the neighborhood talking. I see my dad's Jeep. He had like this gold Jeep Cherokee, and I see he's riding real slow. Not like he's coming home from work slow, but like my mama done called him and said Michael ain't been home for 2 hours, and he's looking around the neighborhood. Because he used to do this other thing where if I missed my curfew because I had to be inside by 7 o'clock or whatever, he would ride around, and then he'd be like, you better get home before I get home. And I'd be on my bike pumping to get to the house. So it was kind of like that drive, like he was lurking, and I was like, God, when he found me, he gonna kill me. So I remember I went and I was hiding somewhere else, and so he never found me. And I'm outside, that same friend or whatever, because he was my ride or die. He just gonna let me come to his house, so he just decided we just gonna walk around the neighborhood together and be cold in the wet. And his fool behind him, he had a coat on. He was white. And no, I'm just kidding. But so we're walking, and I hear a voice. And it's the voice of a pissed off, angry mother. And it's like, Michael! And I'm like, oh shoot. And I didn't realize how close she was. She was literally like where my refrigerator is. That's how close she was to me. Like I didn't know she's out in her sweatpants. No, it was a windbreaker suit. It was a windbreaker suit. She had on her little windbreaker suit, and that's back when people were still wearing little Jerry curls. The black woman, she had a little Jerry curl, juice tripping, everything. And she was so annoyed that day, and like she had on her sneakers. Now, mind you, my mom was in the military as well. Like she retired out the military after like 24 years, and at that time she was still in the army, so she was in like GI Jane mode. So she was like, "Bring your butt over here right now!" And I'm like, "Nope." So I try to run, and like my mom must have had like this super reach that she had. Like I don't know if you remember in Space Jam when Jordan was going to dunk and his arm just stretched or whatever. I'm running, my mom reached back, yeah, and I'm going. And I just feel, and I just gave up on life, and was just like laying there. She yanked me back so fast, had me by like the shirt, and then, I done told you to just pop me all upside the head or whatever. My little friend just dipped out, like he ran like he was gonna get hit too. So my mom grabbed me by the thing, walked me back home, cussed me out without cussing, because my mom was in church. She never used like I can honestly tell you, I've never heard my mother say a cuss word in my life. Even when our neighbor's truck crashed into our house, she didn't cuss then. All right, like I've never heard her cuss. So she was cussing me out with non-cuss words, going all about, you got me going out here. Don't you realize, had your butt got lost or kidnapped? Because there was also an issue with human trafficking in that area, especially like, you know, people would break into the base and try to kidnap kids and stuff. Like one time, and y'all might be thinking I'm lying, but I'm so serious. One time, this little gypsy lady tried to kidnap my brother when we were little, because he was like 2. That's another story I'll tell you about another time. But yeah, this gypsy tried to kidnap my brother in the neighborhood one day. But like, my mom was like, you know, all people could have kidnapped you, and now what you gonna do when we go back to America? You gonna live out here forever? Your butt can't even speak Italian. Get in the house! Get in the house! Or whatever. And long story short, for the sake of respecting my parents' legacy, I'm not gonna tell you what happened when I got in the house. But it was just, it's such a funny thing to look back on, because I was so serious, and I was so pissed because I tried to show her the Bible, like, Mom, look. She, what? Well, get upstairs! Like, I was so pissed because my Bible trick didn't work, but honestly, I was happy to be home because I was wet, it was cold, nose running, I was hungry. Oh, no place like home. But at the time, I thought I was really showing them and teaching them a lesson. But yeah, so that was my story of when I attempted to run away. So long story short, I think I was out of the house for about 3 or 4 hours max. Might even be less than that, but at the time, it felt like I was going for like the whole day. And so it's funny because my mom always likes to bring that story up and like rub it in my face about all the stupid things I've done as a child. But you know, that's just life. Anyway, I just wanted to give you guys something a little bit more comedic because I know my videos can be heavy on occasion. So, subscribe. I'm out. Share your 2 cents. I'll do another one of these later. I should talk about the time I got stranded in the desert. That's actually a fun story. I'm out. Subscribe.